Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So this video is about Deontay Wilder. We've not done a video on Wilder in quite some time, mainly because for me there's been nothing interesting to talk about. However, there has been some footage of Deontay Wilder training that's been released in the last few days, in fact a couple of videos. And really I wanted to give my opinions on this footage and his relationship with new co-trainer Malik Scott. Now, I guess I'll start with Malik Scott in general. There's been a lot of skepticism in regards to this appointment by Deontay Wilder, and it's mainly because of how inexperienced Malik Scott is as a trainer. I actually believe Wilder would be the first guy that he's trained. People are also speculating that Malik Scott is just a yes man for Deontay Wilder. Obviously both guys are close friends, and that's leading people to believe that Malik Scott won't give Deontay Wilder some harsh, honest words in regards to where he's at right now in his career. And a lot of people believe that's what Deontay Wilder needs right now, and maybe they're right. However, the fighter-trainer dynamic and relationship is not the same for each fighter. Some fighters like a business relationship where there's not much of a personal bond between fighter and trainer, whereas other fighters will actually want a trainer where they can build a personal relationship with, almost like a friend figure, or in some cases even a father figure. And that's the impression I get from Deontay Wilder. I think he's one of those guys who needs a personal relationship with his trainer. He strikes me as an emotional type of guy, and I don't mean that as an insult, by the way, but he strikes me as somebody who needs a personal relationship with his trainer. I think he needs that sort of relaxed and fun environment to thrive in. And obviously that's all well and good, but on top of that, you need to be giving Deontay Wilder the right tactical advice and obviously improving his skills. There's no good having the right environment in training camp if you're not teaching him the right skills. So obviously that is down to Malik Scott and the people around Deontay Wilder. So yeah, as for Malik Scott right now, the jury is out. However, the training footage that I have seen between Deontay Wilder and Malik Scott definitely has me intrigued. So there's a couple of videos out there of Malik Scott and Deontay Wilder on the pads, and they're going through various drills. And it looks like Malik Scott is trying to introduce new techniques and new subtleties to Deontay Wilder's style without necessarily trying to reinvent the wheel or anything like that. At Deontay Wilder's age, he's mid-30s, you're not going to change this guy a whole lot, but there's definitely things that can improve him as a fighter, and there'll be small things, and that's what I saw from this pad work. Malik Scott was trying to introduce small little things to improve Deontay Wilder's style. Obviously we all know the criticisms for Deontay Wilder, that he's a one-handed fighter, extremely one-dimensional, with poor balance, poor defense, and a lack of a consistent jab. And all of those criticisms are true. But in the pad work, I saw drills and techniques that are looking to improve upon that. For example, the jab. Deontay Wilder on the pads was varying the jab from body to head. He was doubling up on the jab. And also on the pads, it looked like Wilder was throwing that 1-2, the jab right hand, a lot more quick. What I also liked was uses of feints in the pad work, so he'd feint the jab and come through with a straight right hand. There was actually training footage of Deontay Wilder engaging in lead hand control, work with Deontay Wilder actually using his left hand other than the jab, so left hook to the body and left hook to the head in combinations. So for example, he was throwing a jab, a straight right, then a left hook, simple combinations like this, all things that if he translated to the ring, they would make Deontay Wilder more effective as a fighter. There was also head movement drills, stepping off the line, throwing the jab, things like this. These are basic little improvements that would improve Deontay Wilder a lot as a fighter. Obviously, you can't reinvent the wheel with Deontay Wilder, and from what I saw in the training footage, Malik Scott isn't trying to do that. He's just trying to implement a few new things to his game that will improve him as a fighter. Obviously Wilder's main weapon is always going to be that right hand, but Malik was just working on other ways to set that shot up and also be more dangerous with his weaker hand, his left hand. And, defensively as well, a few drills. These are all improvements we've been asking for from Deontay Wilder for a long, long time. So I find it positive that I'm seeing that being translated on the pad work. So that's the first step. At least Deontay Wilder now appears to be trying to learn some new skills, which is great. However, just because Deontay Wilder is doing it on the pads, and yeah, don't get me wrong, he still looks a little raw at times, but he actually looks a bit smoother on the pads with Malik Scott in comparison to previously with the likes of JD's and Mark Breland. But nevertheless, even if Wilder is pulling off these sort of techniques on the pads, obviously that doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to translate into the ring. And there are numerous reasons for that. You know, first being they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Maybe Deontay is just too old to put these sort of techniques together in the ring. Maybe he's left it too late. Another thing is, human beings in general in tough times like to revert to a place of comfort kind of thing. And that translates into the ring as well. So let's say Deontay Wilder is picking up these new techniques and he's doing quite well at them. Maybe it will actually translate when he's fighting a lesser fighter in the ring who can't really touch him. But if Deontay's learned these new techniques, and he fights a guy who's actually putting it on him, having success, hitting him quite hard, and giving him a tough fight, in those moments human beings kind of revert to type and they go back to what is natural to them. And as we know with Deontay Wilder, his natural aptitude to boxing is to basically load up on the right hand and look for that Hail Mary punch. So maybe this technique could actually work against like lesser level competition, but when he steps up against like an elite level heavyweight, maybe they'll make Deontay Wilder revert to type. Or who knows, maybe Deontay Wilder can actually pull these improvements off and be a much more effective fighter across the board, and be a much more effective fighter at elite level. I have to say, when Deontay Wilder first hired Malik Scott, I was kind of like everybody else. Oh, he's just a yes man, he's inexperienced, he's going to change nothing. But now I've seen the training footage, I do have a bit more faith in Malik Scott. I liked what he was trying to teach Deontay Wilder. Again, I'm not saying it's going to work out, I'm not saying Deontay Wilder is going to be a better fighter for it, but I think Malik Scott is trying to teach him the right things that will make him more effective. Like I said previously, you can't reinvent the wheel. You can't overload Deontay Wilder with information and techniques that he can't carry out. But Deontay Wilder can improve on certain basic things that will make him a much more effective fighter. And that's what I saw in the pad work. Whether it translates or not to the ring, we shall see. But I am much more intrigued about Deontay Wilder's comeback than I was a few months ago. Anyway, I want your thoughts below. This has been a more positive video in regards to Deontay Wilder, and I've not made one of those in quite some time. But you know, for better or worse, whether we like Deontay Wilder, hate him, or somewhere in between, me personally, I am actually intrigued to see him come back, I have to say. But share your thoughts below. It's been your guy Delboy. Peace.